Welcome back. Now, former Attorney General, Minister of Justice Martin Alamisi Amidu has called on the electorate to vote out the NDC come December 7, 2016. This follows what he says is government's attitude to have Ghanaians fooled in believing that the judgment debt paid businessman Asiedu-Dartey is being retrieved. Let's go back onto Skype now and speak to Dr. Edward Brenya, who is a senior political science lecturer at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. He's joining me. Good evening, Doc, and thank you very much for your time.
Good evening, Stephen.
So, Martin Amidu eventually secured a ruling from the Supreme Court to cross-examine Woyome, Woyome. What are your preliminary observations and views about this ruling?
I think that it's a victory to Martin Amidu because he's been fighting all along to get to cross-examine Woyome. So I would say that it's a victory to him. But looking at the political ramification, whether or not his being granted a chance to cross-examine him would have any will cause the ruling party any political capital. I think that this is an issue that has been debated for a very long time. It's an issue that has been as individuals that already have made their mind regarding the way that NDC has handled this judgment debt issue.
So, Doc, let me pause you in a bit. So, what you're saying is that this will have no political implications going into the December elections?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I believe strongly that the MPP have used this issue in their advertisements. They've criticized the government. It's been a case that it has been overstretched for a very long time. And I believe strongly that it is not going to make any difference in terms of convincing new electorates about voting against the government. Rather, it is going to only help those that have already made their mind several months ago about the NDC and the way they handle the judgment debt issues and corruption that the opposition party has dealt with them.
But Doc, we know
that it's going to make any difference.
Dr. Brenya, we know that both of the parties, NDC and MPP, have their core support beside the resurgence of this Woyome issue going into the elections a few days more could tilt the balance from one side to the other?
I believe that this is an issue that those independent candidates who are waiting in the last minute to decide on who to vote for, this is an issue that has been sold well by the opposition to them. If anyone is going to win a political capital out of it, I think it'd rather be the NDC. If the NDC is able to make their case strongly with regard to the fact that they've already started collecting the money, that they've collected about 4 million out of it, and they're going to get to collect more. If the NDC can make that case solidly and strongly, that probably may change the mind of some people. But this, as far as it has to do with corruption and the failure of the NDC to collect Woyome's case, has been sold. People have made up their mind, and it's not going to rekindle or refresh minds of people in the way that it will be against the NDC, the way that people probably might expect it to be.
What are you expecting the outcome to be? I mean, I know you're not a lawyer, but as a political watcher, if you look at the energy and enthusiasm with which Martin Amidu is pursuing this, are you expecting this to come out favorable? Right. Dr. Brenya, did you hear me?
Yeah, I heard, but I didn't get a question right.
So I'm asking, I know you're a political watcher, you're not a lawyer, but I'm asking, looking at the enthusiasm of Martin Amidu, what are your expectations in terms of outcome from this cross-examinations on November 24?
It's not going to be anything different. Yes, initially have said I was out to pay the money, but I wasn't given any specific dates or amount to pay at what time. If there is going to be anything, then it's just going to be timelines. away this amount of money.
Right,
But we all know our legal system. If Wyoming cannot, pay a certain amount of money, how
right,
he can raise the money. And I don't think the outcome is going to be anything different.
Dr. Edward Brenya, we're grateful for
we're going
your
to see
time.
an individual who has
Edward
pushed.
Brenya. Dr. Edward Brenya is a senior political science lecturer at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. We were having technical difficulties towards the end of our conversation. Meanwhile, the Deputy Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Ayine, is warning of a bad precedent being set by the Supreme Court when it granted Martin Amidu's request to orally examine businessman Alfred Woyome. Speaking to 3FM's Sunrise Morning Show, he predicted a coup-de-sac in the Martin Amidu showdown with Woyome.
Constitution confers a substantive right on every Ghanaian to take legal action to protect the Constitution. After the person has taken legal action, the procedures for enforcement of consequential orders are contained in the Supreme Court rules, CI 16, as well as the High Court Civil Procedure Rules, CI 74.
Okay.
And under both constitutional instruments, no plaintiff of the character of Martin Amidu has the power to take action in the peculiar context of enforcement of a judgment in relation to money that belongs to the state. It is the Attorney General of the Republic under Article 88. And then under the State Proceedings Act 555, the Attorney General is the only person who can take action. And, without trying to impugn the integrity of the judge, we made it very, very clear the steps that we have taken so far. We have attached Woyome's property, and it's a public record. Your station can verify from the Supreme Court whether we've done this or not. All right. So, his property at Transaco and other places, we attached them. We also froze his accounts and made sure that the monies were transferred into the account of the Attorney General, and we attached evidence of that transfer. So, having taken all these steps, it was surprising to hear that the judge said that we had failed to take steps to recover the money. I think that the Supreme Court was wrong.
Let's go back to our earlier story where former Attorney General and Minister of Justice Martin Amidu has called on the electorate to vote out the NDC come December 7. This follows what he says is government's attitude to have Ghanaians fooled in believing that the judgment debt paid businessman Alfred Woyome is being retrieved. Let's listen to him.
And foundation member of the NDC, the governing party, but I am compelled to put Ghana first and to defend the 1992 Constitution by saying that the only way Ghanaians can have the Woyome Austro-Invert joint loot refunded is to change the government that created, looted, and shared the loot with them during the presidential elections this year. A new government will prosecute Woyome under Article 2, 3, and 4 of the 1992 Constitution for high crime. Should he delay any further in refunding the unconstitutional loot, the new government will also enforce the Waterville judgment debt of over euros 47 million loot or prosecuted for high crime. This is the only way out for Ghanaians to stand up for their constitutional rights and to retrieve the unconstitutional monies created, looted, and shared by this government with its political party supporters who are now unconstitutional judgment debtors to the Republic. As a loyal NDC member, I will support most of my political party's parliamentary candidates who have shown honesty and integrity to the Constitution. But I cannot, in good conscience and in defense of the Constitution, support its presidential candidate to continue leading the loot of the public purse. Fellow patriotic citizens, I have fought for 2 long years for justice for the Constitution and for all of us, and the Supreme Court eventually vindicated the public's interest by ordering the refund of the unconstitutional loot to the Republic of Ghana. Unfortunately, the government, as the leading looter, has put obstacles in our way in enforcing the orders of the court. Fellow citizens, Help me in the name of the Constitution to retrieve your money that was looted by voting for a new president. Let us protect our constitutional rights and not be hoodwinked by electioneering ploys. Let us get our Ghana cedis 51,283,483 cedis and 59 pesos back. Countrymen, defend the 1992 Constitution by voting for a new president on 7th December 2016 to get our money back. God bless Ghana and put Ghana first. As an addendum, luckily, today I was granted permission to examine Woyome on the 21st of November 2006.
And a member of the opposition New Patriotic Party, Richard Asiedu-Dartey, has petitioned the Chief Justice, Madam Theodora Wood, to consider a live telecast of the oral examination of Alfred Agbeshi Woyome by the former Attorney General, Minister of Justice Martin Amidu on November 24. According to him, a live telecast will shore up confidence in the legal system, especially in Ghana's Supreme Court. Richard Asiedu-Dartey is joining me now on the telephone to throw some more light on this. Richard, good evening.
Good evening, Steve. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I spoke to you earlier on radio, and you were convinced that this is a crucial case to, petition the Chief Justice so that we can watch it live. But I'm curious, what is your interest in this?
Thank you very much. I think Richard, Steve, from every angle, realize that this particular case is novel in terms of the fact that in our history, nobody has been able to, through dubious means, defraud the state of a whooping $35 million. It's never happening to us in our history. You can also realize that there's a lot of decisions by even the government not to actually go out there to sort of retrieve this money for us. Looking at all these and also looking at the fact that Ghanaians are actually waiting patiently to receive their money back. The public interest is extremely high. And I do believe that it is the moment that the CJ should possibly consider allowing cameras into the court for Ghanaians to actually watch the proceedings, to know what exactly happened to our money. Because the point is, it's extremely difficult to come to appreciate the fact.
But Mr. Yeboah, there are those who say that journalists from various media houses have been covering the courts anyway and be reporting from the court. So why a live telecast? Would that not be overstretching the freedoms?
I mean, you are overstretching. What it is that you want to also curb the spinning that naturally comes out with some media practitioners put on some of these stories. Most of the times you realize that two individuals will be reporting from a particular court the same matter. But apparently when they come out, you come to appreciate the fact that you come with different stories. So we want to end this spinning that mostly people put on stories that emanate from the courts. But you just want Ghanaians to hear a first hand. So appreciate the sort of difficulty that citizen vigilante has gone through over the period. The fact that the government is trying to prevent him from going ahead to retrieve this money for us. And I do believe that it will even go a long way to help put a lot of faith in the Supreme Court and also our legal system.
Right.
Beyond that, you equally help Ghanaians to get and understand the issues at first hand and know who and who took part of this money. Because the point is that, as it stands now, we cannot get this money from Woyome's account. We are not getting properties worth that amount. But the point is, where did the monies go? Ghanaians would want to know at first hand. And I tell you that the interest in these matters continue to grow on a daily basis. And I do believe that Ghanaians across the length and breadth of this country are highly interested in wanting to know what exactly happened to their money.
Right, Mr. Santiago.
The is that we are not getting water across some part of the country. We are not getting schools across some part of the country. Health delivery is at its poorest level at certain parts of the country. This money could have actually helped this country. The point is, at the moment, you are being told by the government that you can't even pay allowances and all manner of things.
Right, Mr. Santiago, I think we're drifting into other areas which are shifting from the relevance of what we're discussing.